What's the biggest plot twist of your life? The autumn before everything fell apart, my wife, Sarah, was named Teacher of the Year at her high school. She was bright, warm, and had that rare, effortless gift for making teenagers actually care about classic literature. I was proud of her. I loved our quiet life in the suburbs, our small three-bedroom house, our Sunday morning routines, the peaceful predictability of it all. Then came Julian. Julian was a senior in Sarah's AP English class. He was quiet, brilliant, and constantly stood just a little too close when he spoke to her. At first, it seemed like standard high school stuff, staying late after the final bell to discuss character motivations, writing essays full of uncomfortably personal metaphors, and coincidentally bumping into her at the local coffee shop where she graded papers on Thursday nights. We tried to be understanding. He's just an isolated kid with an intense crush, I told her one night over dinner. Set firm boundaries, keep it professional, and he'll grow out of it. Sarah did exactly that. She told him clearly that all communication had to remain strictly about coursework. That was when the crush curdled into an obsession. Over the next few months, the boundaries dissolved entirely. I started spotting a beat-up, dark blue sedan parked at the end of our cul-de-sac late at night. Anonymous packages began arriving on our porch. Vintage novels, pressed flowers, and handwritten letters filled with disturbing, possessive language. He doesn't see you like I do. You're living the wrong life. When graduation finally arrived, we breathed a sigh of relief. Julian walked across the stage, received his diploma, and disappeared. The blue sedan vanished. For 6 months, the air felt lighter. Then came a freezing Tuesday in November, Sarah's birthday. I left work early to surprise her. As I pulled into our driveway, my stomach dropped. The front door was slightly ajar. My blood ran cold. I grabbed a heavy iron tire wrench from my trunk, crept up the front steps, and pushed the door open. The house was dead silent, but the air smelled faintly of metallic dust and wet paint. I moved silently down the hallway toward our master bedroom. That's when I heard it, a low, rapid murmuring coming from inside. I threw the door open, tire wrench raised, ready to kill or be killed. Julian was standing in the middle of our bedroom. He didn't look aggressive. He looked terrified. He was standing in front of our wall, holding a thick, weathered manila folder in his shaking hands. "You need to see this," Julian whispered, his voice cracking. I wasn't stalking her. I was trying to protect her from you. I took a step forward, tightening my grip on the wrench. "What the hell are you talking about? Look at the records," he pleaded, holding out the folder. I snatched it from his hands. Inside were certified public records, tax filings, and private investigator reports. My heart completely stopped. Now, if you want to make sure you never miss the next part of stories like this, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment below with what you would have done in my position, because what happened next changed everything. The files in that folder weren't about Sarah. They were about me. According to the documents, my legal name, my identity, my social security number, and my entire history were completely fake. The folder contained bank records linking my shared accounts with Sarah to an active federal asset seizure investigation involving wire fraud and missing funds. Julian hadn't been targeting Sarah. He had been tracking me. Before I could process the words, sirens wailed in the distance. Heavy boots pounded up our front steps, and 3 federal agents swept into the room with weapons drawn. They didn't tackle Julian. They slammed me against the wall, kicked the tire wrench out of my hand, and clicked cold steel handcuffs around my wrists. As the lead agent pulled me up, he looked at Julian, nodded once, and said, "Good work, kid. We've been looking for him for 6 years." Sitting in the back of the squad car, watching the red and blue lights flash against our garage door, the entire collapse of my life began to replay in my head. My real name wasn't David. It was Marcus Vance. 8 years earlier, I was the head of quantitative risk for a boutique hedge fund in Chicago. In 2018, I discovered that my firm wasn't just managing money. They were running a massive laundering engine for an international syndicate, passing millions through algorithmic shell accounts every hour. When I realized my bosses were setting me up to take the legal fall for years of systemic wire fraud, I panicked. I didn't just run. I siphoned $14 million out of their primary holding accounts, encrypted the funds into hardware wallets, and executed a digital burn of my entire life. I bought a clean identity from a high-end broker and disappeared. I never spent a single dollar of that money. I hid the encrypted drive inside the hollowed-out base of an old oak desk that I anonymously donated to the local high school library, a paranoid insurance policy I hoped I'd never touch. I just wanted a quiet, normal life with Sarah. I believed if I stayed invisible, the past would starve to death. What I didn't know was that the FBI had been monitoring that missing money for 6 years, waiting for the drive's digital fingerprint to ping a network. Julian, obsessed with finding dirt to ruin me in Sarah's eyes, had been snooping through old storage rooms in the school library. He knew I often sat at that specific oak desk while waiting to pick Sarah up from work. When the school cleared out old furniture, Julian helped move it. Curiosity got the better of him, and he poked around until he found the hidden compartment. Inside were the drive and my old fake documents. Julian was a tech-obsessed kid who knew how to run names through deep web forums, but when he plugged the hard drive into a computer, he triggered an automated security ping I had built years ago. That single ping lit up the federal grid like a flare. Julian thought he was playing detective to save his teacher from a shady husband. In reality, he was just a kid playing with matches who accidentally set off a bomb. In the weeks that followed, the fallout hit everyone like a tidal wave. Sarah's world completely shattered. She had been at a faculty meeting during the raid and came home to find our street cordoned off by federal SUVs. At first, the FBI treated her as a potential accomplice. They froze our bank accounts, seized our home, and combed through every detail of her life before concluding she was entirely innocent. The story exploded in the local news, forcing her to take an indefinite leave from teaching. She visited me in the federal holding facility only once. Sitting behind the thick glass, looking exhausted, she asked me one quiet question. Did you ever actually love me, or was I just a cover story? I told her the absolute truth, that loving her was the only real, honest thing I had ever done in my life. She listened, wiped away a tear, nodded softly, and walked out. 2 months later, I signed the divorce papers from my cell. She moved across the country, reclaimed her maiden name, and built a new life far away from the wreckage I caused. Julian was given a minor informant reward by the FBI for cracking the case, though the judge gave him a stern reprimand regarding privacy violations and stalking behavior. He used the money to pay for college out of state, leaving town as quietly as he had entered our lives. As for me, I pled guilty to wire fraud and grand larceny because I surrendered the encrypted drive, gave the government full access to the funds, and helped shut down the laundering network. The judge sentenced me to 12 years in a federal facility. Now, I spend my days working in the prison library, surrounded by rows of silent, bound books. Every evening, I watch the second hand sweep around the clock on the wall, thinking about how easily a secret can sit undisturbed in the dark, right up until the moment someone opens the wrong door.